All right, you gonna behave? All right, because we got a video to shoot. So today I'm gonna make another leather wallet. I love the wallet pattern that I have, but there was one thing that I thought was lacking on it when we went out of the country last year, and I couldn't put my passport in it. So today I'm gonna show you how to make a pattern for a leather wallet. Let's get into it. So this is the wallet that I've been using for a little over 3 years now. My dogs chewed on it. When Remy was a puppy, he tore that corner up, and it's still holding up. I absolutely love this wallet, but it's got some wear on it, which is fine. That's just character. But the only thing two things I'm not happy about is the leather that I chose faded. This used to be camouflage. As you can see here, it's camouflage. And it does not fit my passport. It's just ever so shy of fitting that passport. So I'm going to come up with a new design. I'm thinking I'm going to have to increase this by about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to change out the pockets a little bit. So let me show you how I make my patterns. Normally, I use manila envelopes for patterns because they're cheap, but I'm out. That's all I've got left. So I found this. Yeah, I drink Dr. Pepper Zeros. Good thick cardstock, relatively flat. I think this will make a good material to make patterns out of. So let me get out my tools and we'll get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is verify what I'm thinking. Like I said, I think I need to make this 1/4 inch bigger because this passport lands right on the stitches, just over the stitch line on both sides. I normally go just shy of 1/4 inch in on my stitch line. So what I'm going to do is measure it. No, unfortunately, this video is not sponsored by Buckleguy, but I love using them, and who knows, maybe someday there'll be a sponsor. Anyways, measure this passport out just shy of 5 inches. And the wallet that I have is just shy of 5 1/4. So I may have to go a little bit bigger because the stitch pattern itself is exactly like I said, right at the same dimensions as the passport. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the height of this 5 1/4. I think that the depth of this is just perfectly fine. It'll still close up and conceal that passport. Look, I've got all of my credit cards, and I got a lot of stuff in this wallet. I mean, I got more stuff in this wallet than I normally do a traditional bifold. And even with that passport in there, it is still extremely slim. So let's get to making this pattern. So I want to start off with a completely square piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my square and I'm going to make this piece, this corner, starting at this corner, completely square. And I hope y'all can hear me over the AC unit. It is just stupid hot here in Texas. So y'all are going to hopefully deal with it. So I'm just going to make this square. Hopefully that won't move when I turn it. That wasn't quite, I didn't get all of that, so I'm going to do that again. She's going ahead and didn't get that all the way. Couldn't get that. Let's start over. Let's make sure this is just completely square. Get a good chunk of it and make it square. Little trick that I got these little squares here. I can butt them up against here. And then ride this ruler up against it so that I know what I'm working off is a good straight piece. All right, so we know this is square. That's my square corner. Go ahead and mark that. And I can base everything else off of that. So we said we wanted to go 5 1/4 tall. So I'm going to mark out 5 1/4. And then cut that out. So it's going to be 5 1/4 by 8 because this wallet is 4 wide. So you double that over and that's 8. So I'm going to go 5 1/4 tall. I'm just butting this square corner up into the square here. I'm going to go ahead and use a pin just so everybody can see it. So that's 5 1/4. And I'm going to go by 8. So I said 8 by 8. And I'm going to leave, no, I'm going to cut the pattern exact, but when I transfer it to leather, I'm going to leave just a little bit of trim allowance because I find that works for me. So now I'm going to come over here to my marking for 8. And again, I can use my little cheaters. Butt that all the way up. Okay. Go ahead and ride that on up there. Cut the rest of it out. I can use that for pockets. And then I'm going to come across the top of it and cut that out. And that's going to be our body of the wallet. Make sure I've got that nice and exactly where it needs to be. Doesn't have to cut through all the way on the first one. So this is our body, right? And it is 5 1/4 by 8 inches. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and make the cash pocket, which is this part out here. Go ahead and make it in this cash pocket. I don't know if you can tell or not, it bunches up in the middle. That's so that when you've got bills and junk in there and receipts, when you fold it over, it folds over nice. If you make it the same 8 inches, it's not going to fold over all the way. I'm going to make this 1/4 inch longer. I may not need it, so whenever I'm putting the wallet together, I'll fold it over and mark where I need to cut that. So, and I need to figure out where I want. On my notes, I said 4 3/4 up for my pocket. I'm not exactly sure that's where I want it. Let's see what 4 3/4 is going to look like. This is all trial and error. You do what you want to do. So 4 3/4, that's right there. That's not horribly bad. It's about where I've got this one set. So I'm going to try 4 3/4. Sorry, I apologize. My hat keeps hitting the tripod. So yeah, let's go 4 3/4. Set that aside. Again, we need to start off with a square edge. So just come in here and make yourself a square edge. Make sure you got some cardboard hanging all the way off. And I'm going to angle this so I can cut it without moving. Hopefully. No, I'm going to have to move. I got to turn my body. I don't think that ruler moved, but I'm going to put this up here just to make sure. Feels like everything's good to go. Alright, so I got another square edge. Again, I'll do it with my pen and mark my square edge. And that's my 90. I know for sure that's a solid 90. And I'm going to come up 4 3/4. Four 3/4. And the wallet is 8. So I'm going to go 8. I'm just going to go 8 1/2. So I know that I have enough and I can trim that later. So I'm going to get that cut out and I'll get back with you. Okay, it's my cash pocket. I don't know what kind of design I'm going to do on the cash pocket yet because I haven't figured out how I'm going to change these pockets up. So once I change these pockets up, it'll give me an idea of what I want to do for the cash pocket. So, cash pocket and body are done. Now I have 4 other pockets that I need to make. But I only really need 2 pieces because they're going to be duplicates. They're going to be mirror images and I could just flip them. So let me get those cut out and designed up. Just figure out the design that you want to do and run with it. Y'all have seen me measure and cut this pattern so far, so it's the same thing. You don't need to see it 2 more times, and I'll get back with you. Okay, so this part I think is important enough that I need to cover on designing card pockets. I'm trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. So I've already got my bottom card pocket, which is going to be longer than my top card pocket, and they're going to match up, you know, around this area here. So, but I need to figure out the cutout and the spacing for my stitching. So take your ID or whatever that is. I've got fake cards here just for YouTube. And figure out where your stitching is going to be and leave yourself enough room. Let me see if y'all can see this. Leave yourself enough room so when you put your stitching in, that your card will still be able to slide in and out and you can stack multiple cards in there. And then once you know where your stitching is going to be, because I'm not going to have just one straight stitch here. Y'all see what I'm going to do later. I'm going to do something different. Then I can decide where I want my pattern for the cutout to be. So this, like I said, figure out what your stitching is going to be. And I usually go about a 1/4 inch shy, or just shy of a 1/4 inch. I go about a 1/4 inch, or just shy of a 1/4 inch. So my stitching is going to be right in here. And then on this side, I'm going to have just about the same amount of room so that the cards will be able to stack. I'll probably get 3 cards in here without a problem. They stack and they'll have enough room to maneuver. And if for some reason my stitching gets a little bit wonky over here on this side, I still have some room to play. So I think that was important enough to show y'all. So let me finish getting this card pocket designed, and I'll show you the end result. All right, this wallet I have chosen to do ox blood. I've always wanted to try this color. It's kind of pinkish or purpley on the back, but whatever. I love the color of this. Actually thinking about trying to save some long pieces to make a watch strap out of later. But yeah, this is what the pattern or the wallet's gonna be. It's kind of cool that they're just slightly different colors. Gives it a little bit of a two-tone. I came up with the curve that I think I want for the cash pocket. That might change. I don't know how drastic that's going to be when it folds over, but this is why I'm doing this prototype, so I can, carry it and see how it's gonna hold up and how the flaps and stuff are gonna look. So I've got everything patterned out. Now it's time to put it on the leather and cut it out. The next video, I will be putting the wallet together. So these two are going to be thinner pockets, actually 3 because this is ×2. We'll do 2 of these. I'm going to do 2 of these and 1 of these, and these are going to be a little bit thicker. I will touch on this now, and I'll touch on it again in the next video. I've had customers want me to make thicker wallets, and against my better judgment, they insisted. But for me, I think that if you go much more than 3.5 ounce, you take a chance of bending or breaking your cards. So you could make an entire wallet out of 3.5 or 3. I kind of like using both. You could do 3 or 3.5, but I usually make the body out of the thicker. So the body, make sure I got this right. Yeah, the body of it and the 2 bottom pockets are going to be the thicker leather, and then the cash pocket and the 2 top pockets, I keep hitting this camera with my hat, are going to be the thinner leather. Again, I think that 3.5 is probably the thickest you want to go. I know that I've said differently on other videos, but that's because that's what the customer wanted against my recommendations. And I'm honestly thinking about going and deleting that video, because 3.5 ounce, if you go much more than that, from what I understand and from just dealing with wallets that I've made that are thicker, I think it's a little too hard to get cards in and out. You take a chance of bending or breaking them. So let me get this marked up. Grab my, where'd it go? Little scratch all. And I'm going to leave just a little bit of trim allowance like I always do, because I am not the best at butting up edges. So just mark this out on the leather. There's the body. I just need 1 of those. And then the 2 bottom pockets, let me do this. Will also be out of the same leather. And I'm thinking I'm going to use a black thread on this. We'll see. You know how projects talk to me. So there's 1 pocket. And I think I'm really going to like the new pocket design that I've done, the shape of them. So that's the body and the 2 bottom pockets. Now I need to do cash pocket and the top pocket. Now, one thing about this cash pocket, this wallet's going to be a little bit bigger. My current wallet fits regular US notes pretty well. Is a little snug, but this was a prototype. The ones I've made since then, and I've got other junk in here. Fits American dollars, US currency really well and hides it. But if you were to go overseas to another country, other denominations wouldn't be hidden as well. So I've made this pocket larger so it can hide all denominations from different currencies. So that's what's up with that. All right. Is this big enough? Yes. This is big enough to go ahead and cut this pattern out. Like I said, I do not know for certain if I'm going to keep this shape. It might be too drastic. It might get damaged with everyday use, but it is a prototype and we will find out. So there's the cash pocket. And now I just need 2 regular pockets. 2 other additional card pockets, I should say. And I got a brand new light for my tripod and I forgot to turn it on. So let's see if that light actually makes a difference. Plug this joker in and y'all tell me in the comments if y'all notice a difference. Oh, wrong button. There we go. I think that, yeah, that makes a difference for me. I can see that a lot better. Yeah, I like that right there. So, I appreciate y'all watching. Stick around next week. I will be putting this bad boy together and finding out whether or not it is going to solve my dilemma on whether or not I can take a passport with me in my regular wallet. I appreciate y'all watching. See you next week. All right, buddy. Okay. Good boy. Oh, you gonna drop it in my shoe? Okay, come here. Good boy. Yeah. Good boy. Here you go. Good boy.